My granddad was a Texas cowboy back in 1910, and he loved cowboy poetry because, you know, when these guys were out there on the range, they didn't have much to do. Either sing or recite poetry. And when I was a little kid, he would play the bones and do this little piece called Carnation Milk. Carnation milk comes in the can. Carnation milk, the best in the land. No teats to pull, no hay to pitch. Just punch a hole in the son of a gun. So when I heard that we could interview Baxter Black, who's a wonderful cowboy poet and writing his own poems still to this day, lives outside of Denver, and I wanted to make sure we had Baxter on this show. Now, Baxter also raised buffalo. And he told me one time it's almost impossible to keep a buffalo in a cage. If they want to, he said they can stand right next to a 6-foot fence and just not even run, just jump over a 6-foot fence. Or if they don't want to, you know, put out that much energy, they just lean against it until it falls over.
That's Mount Evans, 14,264 feet. And down below is the beautiful mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. Hi, I'm David Holt. And on this stop on the Celebration Express, we'll visit cowboy poet and humorist Baxter Black. Colorado's capital, Denver, is one of the fastest growing cities in the U.S. But it's a relatively new city. Up until 1969, only 3 buildings were over 20 stories tall. Today, there's nearly 2 million people in the Denver metro area. But if the big city isn't for you, then it's just a few minutes down the road where good old country living can still be found. Out here you can get yourself a few cows and a piece of land to build a home, like our friend Baxter Black did. He's known as the Coyote Cowboy because he's a creative, self-reliant, and oftentimes mischievous sort. He's also one of the best known of the modern cowboy poets. Baxter doesn't write about the Old West. He's concerned with the cowboys of today, who, according to Baxter, are alive and well and making a living off the humble cow. He's been compared to people like Will Rogers, Curly Fletcher, and even Robert Frost. But after spending some time with him, you'll find that comparisons just won't do. Baxter's the absolute individual, and like the coyote, he's always out in front.
Cougar in the canyon, the devil's home companion, riding with the fire in his eyes, riding with the fire in his eyes. Right. Ain't easy being a cowboy, like the Marlboro man. Public expects us to all be from Texas and roll cigarettes with one hand. Hell, I don't even smoke. Then Hollywood painted a picture they like to perpetuate. The streets of Laredo still echo his credo that the cowboy always shoots straight. Now, I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a backhoe. And then Nashville improved on the image. So now a cowboy can be an illegal alien like Willie or Walian, or a soap opera retiree, and I can't sing. How I envy that smooth urban cowboy whose dance card always seems full. I'd almost be willing to take penicillin or ride the mechanical bull because I'm tired of kissing my horse. It's hard to compete with Casey Tibbs, Louis L'Amour, and John Wayne when the best that you've done is a buckle you won worn smooth since that youthful campaign. Now I can't read without glasses. The 20th century cowboy, what I'm supposed to be. That rare combination of civilization and Jesse James on a spree, but like I said, it ain't easy being a cowboy. So I've made myself a vow to avoid inspection and public rejection. I'll just stay out here with the cows. Because if it was easy, I'd be something else. Welcome to my house, Dave. Glad to have you
here. Great to be here. So the poems that you write are poems about modern day cowboys and what's happening now.
Well, that's the business I've been in, and the cow business. I don't really know a great deal about cowboys in the 1880s, or I know about cowboys today that punch cows and make hamburger for everyone. That's in essence what they're doing.
How did you get into writing these poems?
Well, I'm a veterinarian, and I've spent all my life in the livestock business, and so when we'd go out working cows somewhere, go to a Brandon or whatever, a lot of these places don't have TV or even radio, strangely enough. So they could always had a place for a storyteller, and the competition wasn't too steep. So I started making up poems about these guys and our way of life.
And you were a practicing veterinarian. Are you still doing that?
No. A lot of people wonder why I don't practice anymore, and I tell them that I wasn't a very good veterinarian. When I first got out of veterinary school, I didn't have any money, you know. I set up this little practice, and I couldn't afford an x-ray machine. And that's essential equipment, you know. And somebody'd bring in one of their little dogs that had got injured, you know, and they're laid out pretty flat. I didn't have an x-ray machine. I had to pack the little devil in a suitcase and take him down and run him through airport security. My practice began to fail. This guy said, yeah, I called up this consultant and he said, well, you're not charging enough. And I said, well, I've always charged the same thing, $5 in the hide. I think it's fair. So anyway, now I'm a traveling circus and tell my stories around the country.
This is a great house you have. When did you build this?
This is the house that Cowboy Poetry built. Cindy Lou kind of designed it and put it together. And this is a house for our friends, just like you guys are here today, and we hope you're going to stay for supper. And I wrote a little poem about that, and it speaks for the way Cindy and I feel about the people that we care about. Friend is a word that I don't throw around. Though it's used and abused, I still like the sound, and I save it for people who've done right by me. And I know I can count on if ever need be. Some of my friends drive big limousines. They own ranches and banks and visit with queens, and some of my friends are up to their neck in overdue notes and can't write a check. They're singers or ropers or writers of prose, and others, God bless them, can't blow their own nose. But I guess being friends don't have nothing to do with talent or money or knowing who's who. It's a comfortable feeling when you don't have to care about choosing your words or being quite fair, because friends will just listen and let go on by those words you don't mean and not bat an eye. And it makes a friend happy to see your success. To your good side and forgive all the rest. That ain't so easy all of the time. Sometimes I get crazy and seem to go blind. And your friend just might have to take you on home, or remind you sometime that you're not alone, or ever so gently pull you back to the ground when you think you can fly with no one around. A hug or a shake, whichever seems right, is the high point of giving. And I'll tell you tonight, all worldly riches and tributes of men can't hold a candle to the worth of a friend.
Baxter places a lot of value in friendship. It's an important part of his life and his poetry. When you visit Baxter and his wife Cindy Lou, you feel at home from the minute you walk in the door. And when you listen to Baxter's poetry, you start to understand the world of this modern-day cowboy, even if you've never roped a steer or saddled a horse. So if anybody asks, the Coyote Cowboy is alive and well in Colorado. This is David Holt, out on the road with the Celebration Express.